Friends, good afternoon to all of you. I hope my voice is audible to you as of now. So, if my voice is audible, I think we can straight away start because there were some challenges in this morning. There was a late session. In fact, it started in time, but it got ended quite late. And then, can you hear my voice, everybody? Can you hear my voice? Okay, so uh, yeah, this morning, I'm sorry, this morning the session got delayed, and then it instead of ending at about 11 o'clock, 11:15, it got somewhere around 11:45, and then immediately after that there was a power failure. I thought at least 11:45 or 11:50 I can start the session, but there was a power failure, and then yeah, there is something called Peter's principle in management. If anything could go wrong at the 11th hour would go wrong. So after the power failure, my system got crashed. Then restarting had to taken this much of time. So I think we are ready. So now straight away I will start with uh, from wherever we had discontinued yesterday. This is also a replay. So what we will do now, we're going to see the. It's a very interesting actually today. We're going to see the software part. So various softwares and particularly some introduction to um, all those list of softwares that are available. So during this lockdown, since you have plenty of time available at your disposal, you can download many of those softwares and then slowly try out each one of them. In fact, I had given most of the what you call free source. Most of them are free source, but since tomorrow you're going to work in some companies, hospitals, healthcare divisions, there is also need for commercial source because commercial software is for accountability. Free softwares, it's not any accountable. Even if there is any mistake, nobody is held responsible. That's another limitation of free source. But for learning sake, I think free softwares are far. I found many ways superior to the commercial ones. So today I'm going to demonstrate one software in this video. So these actually, some of these videos were already re-recorded. In fact, because of my preoccupation with many other tasks, some of these videos were already recorded offline actually through the camera and then the PowerPoint slides. I've recorded and then preserved them because early hours there won't be much disturbance. No sounds around because of the lockdown. The neighborhood kids also make a lot of noise. And then if I close down all the windows and the doors, it will be suffocating. And then I cannot afford to switch on two air conditioners because that's very expensive. Not only that, and then it is a lot of taxing on the power demands. So in this lockdown, we have to cut the cloth according to its size, and that's what the major lesson. And I'm suggesting everybody not to spend too much time, too much money on unwanted things. Bare minimum necessities is what we have to spend. So I'm trying all that because this would go until August, I know. So until August there won't be much what I would say free flow of income. So a lot of friction is there, a lot of tussle is there. So that's the reason we have to be careful on all the resources. So with that preview, we are going to start with our first part. Today I'm going to play two parts, part 2 and part 3. So I think these are very rare because you will never find this kind of videos anywhere online. And of course, I want you to quickly download these videos before they are cleaned up because I told you these channels are created exclusively for NIMS students. I'm going to delete them later on because of certain other reasons. I'm not supposed to keep them because in my present workplace I'm not supposed to keep any of my personal videos like this because of the branding issues. So that's the reason I'm insisting on all of you to download these videos before they are removed from the YouTube servers. I hope my message is clear to all of you. So you'll understand the predicament I have. I'm going to delete all these videos subsequently after the play, what you call these broadcasts. So 24 hours, if you can download them, download them. Otherwise, most probably by tomorrow, these videos would have gone away. So, and that time it would be very difficult for you to recreate. So, this is the rarest, I would say, the opportunity as well as the resource. So, much, I think we have already spent a lot of time on this. So, it's time for us to listen to part two of the video and then note down the points, important points wherever necessary. And then, after this session, you can try sometimes on the internet, download those softwares, install them, and then start working over. I think that's what the purpose of today's session. So with that preview, so we are going to start with this session now. I hope you're ready for this session. If anybody can say yes or no before I start the video. Part 2 of analysis of data, which is packed with a lot of tools, lot of resources, particularly types of softwares available, and to download certain softwares. So would anybody react? I also hope that my voice is audible and clear. So shall we move forward? Could anybody give some feedback? Can we start? Yeah. So thank you very much. So we will move quickly. Once again, good afternoon to all of you. And then for the next 1.5 hours, we are going to see the demonstration of software. And then I wish you would learn a lot of things today because these are the rarest opportunities to watch the demonstration of softwares. So with that, I'm going to start the video now. Good morning to all of you. This is our second part session on Unit 4 of Analysis of Data, or the sixth step of research process. Now in the part 1 session of this unit, or step 6, I have already shown you how to prepare a codebook and also a master sheet. These two are very important for data entry and data analysis. Now codebook is like a guidebook which gives us instructions as to how data could be entered in a master sheet. Master sheet is the actual place where we enter the raw data which is collected from either online or from the field manually. Now in this class or in this session I am going to show you how to prepare a codebook and a master sheet using software. And then before that I want to give you a brief introduction to the software. Then we will learn to install the software with the instructions of download links I have already sent you in the previous mail. I hope by now you would have already downloaded the software and installed it. If you can do it along with me, probably every step you can systematically learn in real time. So let us move forward. To recap the research process, we had already seen 5 steps, and then we had already started with step 6 called analyze and evaluate data. And in step 6, we had learned how to prepare a code book and then a master sheet. And today we are going to see the software in which we are going to enter the code book and the master sheet. And in order to do so, let's have a quick introduction to the statistical software. As per our standards, as per the curriculum, we are expected to learn using a software called SPSS, which stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. It's one of the oldest statistical softwares available in the market, and then it has more than 30-40 years of history. Now, let's have a very quick review on the history of the software. There were three gentlemen, statisticians, who had developed this software way back in the year 1968, and they were Norman Nye, Hadley Hull, and Dale Bent. Now, this package is developed within the University of Chicago for their internal use only. But this software had its limitations. It was ported on Unix operating system, based on which today you have Linux operating system. So, since it was ported on Unix operating system, it was not
that popular. But gradually, what they did, they had written a first manual, all these three people, in the year 1970. And this manual had popularized the software called SPSS. Since 1975, the project got separated from the university and got established into a company called SPSS Incorporated. And then subsequently, the first version of this package under Microsoft's DOS operating system was released in the 80s. And then subsequently, in the year 1992, it was ported to Windows. And I remember I got introduced to this software in the year 1990 with their version called SPSS PC version 3. Now today you have SPSS for Windows version 26. In the year 2009, SPSS had made rebranding of its statistical package and they named it as PASW, which stands for Predictive Analytics Software. However, it was only for a short time. On July 29, 2009, this company announced that it was acquired by IBM. So now SPSS is a product of IBM. For the entire Southeast Asia, the office of SPSS is located in Bangalore, in which they also look at the marketing of the software for the entire Southeast Asia and also they conduct certifications and training programs. That's the brief introduction to this software. Interestingly, for a very short time they called it PASW and then subsequent year they reverted to its old name SPSS for Windows. Now today there are many competitors for this software and then I'm going to show you a list of alternatives or operating or competing softwares. Now very competing are SAS, BMDP. I'm not going to elaborate the softwares. That's not the part of our syllabus or the lesson. But any student who is much interested in knowing more about data analytics, big data analytics, data mining, they will be interested in knowing more about these softwares because these are all used in big data analytics. BMDP, very popular in medical research. Epistat, this is used in epidemiology, for example, like how the pandemic like coronavirus is spreading across the world. So they would use softwares like Epistat. Then another competitor is called Systat, MyStat. Statistica is very popular even today. And then of course IBM has its open source software called R for Windows. It's a bit more programming based application. Then we have NCSS. These are some of the competing statistical softwares. And then we also have some open source called OpenStat, which I kept using for quite some time. Then Epimerge is another epidemiological software. Then Stata is also very popular. Visual Stat is also popular. Interestingly, in MS Excel also we have statistical analysis called data analysis package. This is normally not visible on the screen. You just have to go to options to enable data analysis package. Now, of late, we find quite interesting software called DSTK, which I used for some time, then followed by JASP, I'm still using that, and then PAST, which is for paleontology, that's the software used for application of statistics in paleontology. But today, I'm going to show you one software called PSPP. And then of course there are many more softwares, but you might be wondering why PSPP when SPSS is there. So I'll try to give you a justification or the explanation for that. Let us move on to what is this PSPP called. Very peculiar. Even today, many of us really don't know what is the full form of this software. When you install it, this is the name called PSPPIRE is displayed on the screen. So what does it mean? Really don't know. But originally it was called Fiasco and it was born at the end of the year 1998. Therefore, it's more than 20 years old. No, this is created as an alternative to SPSS, which is license free, restrictions free, of course, not bug free. There are some bugs, I have already noticed it. It supports all SPSS files, so therefore we don't have to worry about uh, compatibility of the files. PSPP, of course, there are some people claim these are the names of PSPP, but we are also not sure. Perfect statistics professionally presented, probabilities sometimes present problems. So these are some of the names some people claim, but there is no support for those nomenclatures. Never mind. PSPP is definitely an alternative to SPSS because it is free, number one. You might be wondering why SPSS cannot be installed, cannot be used. SPSS is a commercial software which is very, very costly, and I don't think as a student you can afford to buy that. Student version would cost you around 50,000 rupees, and then commercial version for an institution like us costs us around 1,50,000 rupees for at least 4 licenses. So if you keep on increasing the number of users, the cost of this application would be increasing. So it runs into 8 lakhs to 12 lakhs. And then I don't think we should be using any pirated cracked versions because piracy means stealing. So why should I steal and then use a software for my academic learning when I can use a compatible software, something very similar to SPSS, even in the command side, even in the application side, even all the features which are there in SPSS are same in PSPP. I would rather use PSPP than SPSS because I can lift up my head and then very boldly I can use rather than steal some software and then install it on my system and then learn it. Stealing is still bad. So therefore, what we need before we install these softwares and then start using it. If you are using MS Office applications much older than 2016, you may have to install one particular file called ODF add-in, that is called Open Document Format add-in. This is to accept the import export of PSPP output file into MS Word. In case if you're using MS Office 16 onwards, you don't need this. Now, when you open PSPP file, this is the features. This is how it looks like. So we'll ignore this and then let's move on to the basics of PSPP or SPSS. First of all, you must know what are the file formats in PSPP. There are quite many number of file formats. For raw data, there would be a file. For instructions, there would be a file. For scripts, there would be a file. For syntax, there would be a file. And for output, there would be a file format. So there will be at least 5 types of or 5 formats at least visible to us. As you are preparing your outputs, preparing your inputs, you would find there are at least 5 formats or file formats you would be witnessing, and then you will be storing them, saving them in your backups. Now, second aspect is SPSS or PSPP would have various window tabs, fixed tabs these are called. So you can always maneuver through these tabs. Tab 1 is called variable view, tab 2 is called data view. So these are the two tabs that we would be, I'll show them all of them after installation. And of course there will be a lot of menu bars, and you are very familiar with the menu bars because you have already used in most of these Windows applications. And menu bars would have drop down menus. So if you're familiarized with all this jargon, we can move ahead. You have to download at least two important things. Number one, two of those files, namely from your online questionnaire in the Google form, you have to download the file, your Excel sheet, in the form of .csv format. Don't download XLS format because PSPP will not import XLS files. Rather, it would import CSV file, comma separated version. So, if your Google form is downloaded as .csv file, it would be easy for PSPP software to import it and then start analyzing it. Then you still have to download PSPP software I have already sent you the links in the previous mail. Then if you don't have MS Office latest version, you have to download ODF add-in for Office. That's it. So these are the preliminaries, and then I'll conclude with it. So now let's move on to the download and installation of the software. I had already shown you in the previous class how to identify the links and then download it. So I'll type simply PSPP because we have already done it in the past. So this is the link. So sourceforge.net is an open source repository of various applications. So here you can go and download PSPP for Windows. So I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. So what we will do, we'll straight go to the downloaded source. So I've created a folder called PSPP and I'll double click it. So here you would find two file formats. One is 32-bit, other one is 64-bit. You have to check out whether your Windows is 32-bit OS or 64-bit OS. Since my Windows operating system is 64-bit OS, I'm going to install the 64-bit version by double clicking on it. Now this is straightforward. Most of you are quite familiar with installation of softwares. So all you have to do is press the default button to install the software. That's it, it's completed. Now you can see the shortcut, desktop shortcut is here. So I'm going to move it so that it will be more visible for us. Now PSPP, if I double click on this software, you can see how the software gets invoked. So now this is the opening window of PSPP software. Now you can still see here the name of the software called PSPP IRE date. So therefore here I just want you to get familiarized with what are those tabs I was referring to, Windows tabs. By default it opens variable view window. This is called variable view tab. And then if you move to the side one called data view, if you click it, you would find another window, it's called data view window. Now what are these two windows? If you go back to my previous session on codebook preparation and master sheet, you would understand them much easier. Now what is a variable view? Variable view is the name given by the software for codebook. I'm repeating it again. The variable view is actually a codebook, whereas data view is the name given for master sheet. Codebook and master sheet are the quite traditional names, classical names, but softwares have their own freedom to change those. They can put their own names. So therefore, we will see now how to prepare a variable view. In other words, how to prepare a codebook and a data entry, or what we call the master sheet. So by default, PSPP or SPSS would open up variable view. By the way, let me tell you that whatever the menus that you see here are also the same menus that you would find in SPSS. Not only that, when you drop down the menus, these are the menus that you would also see in SPSS. So whatever our syllabus requires, all are there in here in this software. Therefore, I'm going to demonstrate this software. So I hope you had already downloaded this software. Now, before we move on, I just want to let you know that as I told you, there are multiple file formats it generates. But how many windows are there in this software every time when you open it? As I told you, variable view is number one, data view is number two, and by default always an output file is generated, so that we will see how an output file is generated. Now let's move on. There would be a output file separately tagged, so it is not fixed here. So every time you do any work in PSPP, An output file will be generated that you would see on the adjacent to this tab. So let's move on to the variable view. How to prepare this variable view? In order to prepare this window, you have to get back to your code book, which was manually prepared in the previous class. So I'm going back to my folders. Where is my code book? I have to get back to my desktop. So probably it is here in finding it here. So let me try search. Yeah, it's in data analysis. Yeah. So let me open my code book. That's my code book. You would see the variable list and then information sort, the response pattern and the codes. Now what I'll do, just I will not show the entire preparation because you're already familiar with it. I would only demonstrate how it can be done in SPSS. I'm sorry, PSPP. Now go back to variable view. I'll start with the first one called V1. That is my variable one, which is also there in my code book. So this is called V1. V1 is the occupation. So first I'll enter V1. By default, the type of variable is mentioned called numeric. It keeps changing. You'll have numeric string and various types, but we'll always take the numeric. Then width. My suggestion is always take a width of 6 and you don't need decimals. Then remove decimals to 0. Then give label called occupation. You can copy it from your code book. Then you can increase the width. Then value labels. This is very important because if you don't enter value labels, your output will not be visible properly. So what are the value labels? The response pattern is actually called the value labels, and these are the values or codes. So let's move on. So what I'll do, value labels, I'll simply click on the cell. This is called a dialog box. Now in the dialog box, it would ask me what are the values. So what is 1 from the code book? 1 is employed, 2 is self-employed. So 1 employed, sorry, employed. Then you have to add it. Then 2 self-employed. That's it. Click OK. Then it is embedded. So the values for this variable is embedded. Now, is there anything called missing value? Missing values are those which are the answers not given by the respondents. So in case if nobody has given answer, if some people have not given answers to this variable, what do you want that variable to be? So as of now I will ignore it. I will not touch on this, and then go to the column which is the physical width space on the computer screen of that given variable called v1. I will reduce that to 6 because I've already mentioned the width of it is here 6, so the column size also 6. So that's it. I'm moving on to alignment. So this is called justification. So I'll ignore that. I don't need to worry about it. But this is more important. Here you know the levels of measurement. So you must know occupation. What type of measurement is it? It is nominal. So I'll just ignore it. I'll enter nominal and then ignore it further. Now, what is the role of this variable? It's called input or output. So I would call it input variable. So I'll dispute, uh, by default, I'll ignore that. Now we move on to variable 2. So again, I'll reduce the width. Decimals would be 0. Then what is my second variable, which is called age in actuals. I can copy and paste. They are very important. Since it is in actuals, I'll ignore it here. Then columns. Age is always in 2 digits, so I can take 2 columns, 2 column width, but I'll take 3. And it is, the measurement is called scale. As I told in one of the classes, I have explained that in software they merge interval scale and ratio scale into one category called scale. But nominal and ordinal are on their own, they exist. So this is the way I'll prepare my variable view window. Now I'll ignore the remaining, just for the sake of demonstration I am doing it. But I'll move on to part B of my questionnaire called conflict. So variable 12 onwards, variable 12 to variable 35 are my conflict items. So I'll just show you one item and then I'll conclude that, because I've already prepared them for the sake of saving time. I've already prepared the full variable view window that I'm going to show you. So now let me just show one that's called V12. So V12, then I'll change the width of the variable to 3. I don't need decimals now. So what is V12? V12 is the item, first item under work conflict. You can also go back to your questionnaire and open it. You would know that in your questionnaire, draft questionnaire. So what is V12? This is V12. So I can copy that and paste it here. Now, what are the value labels? You would know that the value labels are strongly agree to strongly disagree. So now I'll start that. V1 is strongly disagree. Add V2 disagree. 3 neutral. V4 agree. V5 strongly agree. So that's it. Now this is the way I have to prepare for the remaining variables. For the sake of demonstration, I'm showing only few of them. And then this is an ordinal measurement, so I have to change the measurement here. That's it. So once I'm through, I can always save this file. Where do you want to save it? You decide. So I'm saving it in my folder called data analysis, PSPP folder, and I'll give the name called PSPP PP trial. So I'm saving it. That's it. My file is saved. Now I'm through with the variable view. Let's see how does it look in data view. So you can see by default the labels of the variables are created in data view. We can see V1, V2 and V30, V12. So this is the way we will prepare the variable view. You have to complete with variable view window, conclude with all the codebook preparations. So whatever is there in your codebook, it has to be transferred into your variable view. And then once you are through with it, the data that you had collected from Google or the data that you had collected from the field manually has to be entered here in data view window, which is also called master sheet. Now how do we do that? You know, case 1 it refers to first respondent. What was the answer given by first respondent for variable 1? His occupation, let us say he is employed 1. And what is his age? His age could be 23. Then his response to first conflict item, he strongly agrees with the question. So fine. Now this is the way you have to enter. What about the second respondent? He is self-employed. Then what is his age? 29. Then does he agree? Probably. Yeah, he agrees with the statement. So this is the way we have to enter the data and save the file. Now I am closing this file and then show you the file which is already created. I'm going back to my data analysis folder. This is the file. So here I have already created a file. So what I'll do, so I will go to file, open, backup. That's the file. That's called cs.sfe, which I have already created before. So now I'm opening it. That's it. It's already opened. Now this is how my complete variable view would look like. V12, it should be V50, right? See, V50 is the last variable. And the labels, the labels are already created for all of them. Of course, I have not entered the value labels. I've already shown you how to enter the value labels. For example, gender, 1 is male, 2 is female, and okay. So that's the way you have to finish off. That's it. So what I will do, I'll stop here after saving this file, and in the next phase, next session, I'm going to show you how to use this software for data analysis. I'll explain you these windows and then I'll again show you how data view and variable view interact with each other. So I'll demonstrate in the next phase, next session, all these menus. So what I will do, I'll drop them after and I'll also explain each of those menus. And in the next they are phase, next session. So that's going to show you. So I wish you all the best to use this. In the meantime, install this software. I'll explain the way I have done Windows and also again download the Google form how CSV format and then install ODF each other. So opening the output. I'll demonstrate. So for example, in the next phase, you can see next session already the output file is created like menus. This is the third window. So in addition to explain each of those menus, and in the next variable view window, data window. So that's the third window is called the output window. So in output window, all the processes that you have initiated are saved. Not only that, it also saves your results, your statistical output, your graphs are also saved in this file. So once you have saved all of them here, you have to export that, export the output. Now you can see what are all the file types here. You can see here, you can export it into SPSS viewer, PDF file, HTML file, ODF, text file, plain text, PostScript, CSV. My advice is either you save it in ODF, ODT it is called, ODT format, or HTML format. I'll explain the way I have done it, because in PDF format you cannot edit it. In text format, the layouts will differ from software to software when you open it. PostScript is only for printing purpose, which is normally done in Photoshop software, so we don't need to worry about this. My advice is only take ODF, ODT. ODT files can be opened in MS Office version 16 onwards. So if you have 16 onwards, you don't have to worry about it. But always export all your output to ODT format. So that's it. I'll discontinue the topic here. So in the next recording, because of the time, I'm not going to show you the details, because I want you to learn, saturate all of these things into your mind, get ready with the installation, and then in the next video I'm going to show you how to use these menus, right? So that's it. All the best.
So what we will do, we'll have a break now for about 5 minutes, and then around now it is about, let us say, 1:05. So around 1:10, I'll start the second phase of the demonstration of the actual software called PSPP. So I hope you have got some familiarization with the various softwares lists, and particularly we are only demonstrating SP, that what is it called, PSPP. So get ready for that, and then we will start with that the short while from now. So you can take 5 minutes break, have some snack or some coffee or tea, and then come back. So short 1:10, I'm going to start with the next phase, or that is what we call the third part of unit of analysis. So third part is going to be more actual demonstrative. So take care, then come back quickly. 5 minutes, certainly not more than that. So I'm going to play, and then that's it for today. So we are going to see how to make use of this software for the demonstration. I hope I only wish that you're in time with this software actually. Unfortunately, you didn't have your data, none of you. Of course, only one of your friends is closer, getting close, but just topic selection and so on. But if only had you listened to the instruction and kept with the tempo and the pace, I'm sure by now you would have been ready with your own data for using in this particular software. Never mind. So better late than never. Yeah, some people run faster, some people don't. That's what we call life. So better late than never. Even now, it's not too late. You still have a week's time now, because most probably by the end of this week, we would be almost through with unit 4, and then the beginning of the next week, probably we would have finished also the syllabus. So I think uh, yeah, it's time for you to have your break, then quickly come back. I'll probably extend 2 3 more minutes. So 1:10, or maybe maximum 1:15. So sharp 1:10 if you are there. Otherwise 1:15. I will also take your feedback before starting the third session. So fine. Have your break. So friends, come back once again. We are going to start with our third part of analysis of data. So this is going to be the last part for today, and then tomorrow we'll be back again with the fourth and fifth part. So I hope the message is loud and clear, and then you're able to watch the videos also more effectively. So, so yeah, sometimes here and there you'll have some glitches, but I don't think that should be too disturbing or annoying. So therefore, with that note, I would like to start with the second part for today. Otherwise, it should be fourth part of our fourth session on unit of analysis or analysis of data. So let's move, and then if you're ready, can you just give me some uh, message saying that you're ready so that we can straight away start? So if you can put in your live chat your message whether you're ready, we can straight away start with the session. So once again, good afternoon to all of you. Come back, and then we are going to start with the fourth part, that is unit 4 of your syllabus called titled analysis of data. We are going to actually demonstrate now PSPP software, which is a cloned version of SPSS. So yeah, we are going to start it. Welcome once again, and then after this we will just discontinue the session. So I think I'm sure it would go for about 20 minutes, 20-35 minutes. I think we will not continue for long today. So a lot of weariness is also there. So I hope you will comply with that and then understand. But I want you to download these videos and utilize them, because after some time you will not find these videos. So we are starting now straight away with the last part for today. So thank you very much.
Friends, good morning to all of you. This is our third session on data analysis. And then in the previous class, in the previous recording, we had already seen how to install PSPP, which is a clone version of SPSS. No different. I didn't find much difference between both of these softwares, but yeah, there are some bugs still because it's a free version. And then it's a very small package. So therefore, downloading and installing doesn't take much time and also your bandwidth. But SPSS is definitely a very big software because it runs into gigabytes of data that you need to download and then install. So it's very expensive also. Therefore, you cannot afford to avoid all piracies issues relating to the piracies. You can always go for open source, and this is one nearest cloned SPSS version. There are many more which I have already shown you in the first session. And then let's go through this software once again. So I have already shown you in the previous class this application would have two windows fixed together. One is called variable view, which is a default window always kept open, and then the next one is called the data view. In the variable view, you would always find the code book embedded, of course, and in the data view it is a master sheet. Now, in the variable view, we had already seen how the names of the variables are mentioned and what are the labels of these variables. All these have to be manually typed out. Then not only that, the value labels for each variable are also instructed or mentioned in them. Then particularly the measurement, level of measurement. So for each variable, we have defined what is the level of measurement here. So then as we move to the data view, you would see the complete data. If in case if there is any error, you can subsequently check through. I would show you for the step 1 how to identify the errors in the data. So what we can do is, before I start, I want you to pay attention to the menu bar. This is a very important menu bar, which is also called the main menu bar. Now in the menu bar, you have so many menus like File, Edit, View, Data, Transform, Analyze, Graphs, Utilities, Windows, and so on. But Yeah, you're quite familiar with this because you would find this kind of menus in any of those Windows applications like MS Word, MS Office applications. Now, in file menu, you would see creating a new file, opening an old file, importing data, saving, and so on. In the edit, you must be quite familiar with this cut, copy, paste commands. Then you can also clear some variables, you can clear some respondents, and then view is physical view of the screen, so you don't have to much worry about them. Don't touch that much. Data view, this is also a very important one. Supposing you want to split the file into two parts, you can try that. Or you want to select only few respondents, you can try this. And that's how you can give importance to only few respondents and ignore the other respondents. You can try this command. We don't use much frequently, but transform is the most important menu. Here you can compute index, you can create an index, you can count number of respondents, you can count number of variables, then you can rank some cases, you can recode. These are all important commands. For example, recode into same variable. This command is useful when you want to group age, actual age into grouped age. But if you try that into same variable, your original actual age will be gone forever. So let us not try this command anytime. So we'll try always record into different variable, in which case your actual age can be retained in the same column and you can create the grouped age in another column. So we can always try this. Now the heart of SPSS is called analyze, because this is the place where you will find all the repository of statistical tests available. Now for most of the advanced users, you could still find regression analysis, non-parametric statistics, reliability, factor analysis, discriminant analysis, bivariate correlation, univariate analysis, means difference tests, descriptive statistics. So these are all more than enough for any scholar, any research scholar. And particularly for a student like you, these are far, far from what you need. And then as we move to the graphs menu, you can see in the graph menu scatter plot, histogram, bar charts can be created. So what I would say, in PSPP you are limited, you cannot have more than these graphs. Similarly, so in SPS also, SPS is not designed much for graphs. So if you want to have high resolution, very attractive variety of graphs, I would always advise you to use Excel sheet rather than any of these statistical packages, because the purpose of this package is for more statistics rather than graphs. Now, utilities, you don't have to worry about these things. These are all not much useful to you. If you want to find a reference manual for using this software, you can go to help and PDF file is already there. So you can always open it for all instructions, for all commands. So now what we will do, let's start with the heart of SPSS or PSPP, called analyze. So first, as I told you, first step before initiating any data analysis is checking the errors for further cleaning. So we have sufficiently cleaned the data. In case if you still have any hidden errors which are not so visible in the menu or in the raw sheet or what you call master sheet, you can still try through analyze descriptive statistics and frequencies. So when you click, it would ask you for, this is what we call frequencies Dropbox or Dropbox for frequencies. So we'll have so many dialog boxes like this. This is called dialog box actually. So in this dialog box, you would, on the left side you would always find the list of variables. So you can select always like this. So, and then on the right side you would find two boxes. One is called processing box, other one is called statistics. So I would take the processing box. I have to move the selected variables into processing box. So here are my variables moved into the processing box. And then here you can find various statistical tests available. So what I would do, I will confine myself only to mean and standard deviation because I need only some of those. I don't need range, kurtosis, median, and so on. So, and that too, I need mean standard deviation only for continuous variables, continuous data, not for ordinal data or nominal data. However, Since I have already included all the variables irrespective of their levels of measurement, I have chosen it. So, but I will omit them, I will ignore them at the time of interpretation. So I'm clicking OK. Now my output table, this is my output window. So there are always three windows I told you in the very first session on PSPP. The first window is called variable view window. The second one is data view window. And the third one is called output window. So output window is a loose window. It is not attached to the software. So every time you process and anything on the raw sheet, the output is created. So the file is always created like this. Now it is intact, it will always be there until you close it. So you can check through. The first table contains the mean standard deviation of all the variables mentioned included in the process box. However, I need to take only mean for age. You can see 38.48 with SD 9.3. Then number of children is 1.5. Monthly income is 4,37,976. This is not monthly, it should be annual. I need to do some correction here. Then experience is 7.7 years. Number of subordinates 5. Number of promotions 2. So that's it. So I can cut the table here until here, then remove this gender to marital status, then occupation and designation. I can retain that and keep it in my final chapters of the results. Now as we move, I have to further check through what are the problems in my data. So I'm going through age. This is what we call frequency distribution. We have frequency here for all the actual, this is called actual age, frequency distribution and percentage. You can ignore valid percentage and cumulative percentage. There are some purposes for it, but whenever you need this, you can always utilize it. Otherwise, by default, you would be taking only the age, actual age, frequency and percentage. You can delete these two columns subsequently in your final table. But this actual age also is not very important when you are presenting it in your thesis, in your project reports, because how do you interpret actual age? Very difficult because the distribution is very huge, very vast. So you can see such a big table. So if you have to explain how many people are there in this age and this age, you have to keep on writing in 2 3 pages and it is meaningless. So therefore what you could do, you can reclassify the age, actual age into groups. You can take odd numbered groups, 3, 5, 7 and so on. So if you want to take 3 groups, what you could do, you divide this entire range into 3 groups. By taking their sum and divide by 3, you would get the class interval. That is one way of classifying. There are many other ways. You can also classify these age groups based on quartile values, and you could even classify them in based on median value. You could classify them even based on percentiles. That of course it's up to you. Conveniently, as per the needs of your study, you can classify them. I have done it based on quartiles, which I would show you at the end. Similarly, as I move, now you can see how my table for gender looks like. So 50% male, 49% female, graduates, PG, others, you can see that. So I am not finding any problems here. Number of children, 1. 40% of them said they have only one child. 60% of them say they have 2 children. Now likewise, if I move on slowly, occupation, 50% are employed, 50% are self-employed. Designation, you can see that a little over one-third is employees, nearly one-third is supervisors, nearly another one-third is officers. Now again, my monthly income is, there is a problem. It is not monthly income, it is annual income because it is running into lakhs. So therefore, I need to correct this label. So monthly income also I need to reclassify into grouped income, because with actual income it's very difficult to present such a big table in my report. Similarly, experience is in actuals, I need to reclassify them. Similarly, number of subordinates need to be reclassified, number of promotions also. Here I can make only 2 groups of promotions because the distribution is, the values are very few. So 1 to 2 I can take one group, 3 to 4 as another group. Conveniently, here I am omitting that odd number grouping because that is, the responses are very few. In case if the responses were more than 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I would have tried odd number 3 groups. That's it. So from here, this is what my conflict scale items are. So at work, I have things that should be done differently. That is the first item in my work conflict scale. So the responses are 50% strongly disagreed, 6% strongly agreed. So you can see more respondents are tilted towards disagree, strongly disagree. So what I'll do, I can even try cancelling this, go back again, analyze descriptive statistics, frequencies. Here what I'll do, I'll include some charts. So what kind of charts? Bar charts. So I'll select bar charts and then click OK. Then my output is ready. So now I would know how my bar charts would look like. You can see here, this is how my bar charts would look like. For example, if you are taking bar chart for monthly income, it would look like this because of more distribution. But if you look for annual income, I mean experience, it is, you can see most of the respondents, that means one-fourth of the respondents are lean towards only 1 year of experience, number of subordinates, number of promotions. Now you can see for first conflict item, it is a skewed response distribution because half of them strongly disagree with the respondent. So you can see the distribution is like this, skewed to one side. And when we go through the second item, at work I am not able to be myself. You can see it is a normally distributed data. However, there is an error I found. You can see here, there's two respondents have given zero answer. Actually, there is no zero answer in the scale items. It starts with 1, ends with 5. So I need to correct. Wherever you find zeros, you have to convert them into ones because that is the starting response. I think here it is okay, no problem. What you could see here is strongly disagree. Nobody had given disagree. Similarly, nobody had given strongly disagree response. So that's why you find 1, 2, 3, 4 responses only. Strongly disagree, agree, neutral, disagree. So this is how you would know how your data looks like. You can check through again, there is a 0 in another scale item. Likewise, as you keep moving slowly, you would find errors. So what you could do subsequently, you can clean up all these errors and then keep your data ready for all next level analysis. So checking through again, any values are errors. Here you can see another one. So slowly you can move like this and then check up if there are any errors again. So you can see in satisfaction scale also you have one response error. So all errors have to be eliminated. Then only you're ready for data analysis, final main statistical analysis. There is one more. That's it. So I'll close it. Now what I would do, I will slowly move through my distribution like this. So I would know where are my zeros. I can pinpointedly identify those zeros. Here I don't find any zeros. So slowly I'll move down. So as I move like this, it will be very difficult to identify where is that zero value mentioned. So what is one of the best ways of identifying zero and replace that zero with one is go to transform command. So I'm demonstrating that now. Transform. recode into same variable this time. So let me select all my conflict items like this, conflict to satisfaction also, because we found 0 in some of the satisfaction items also. So I'll move all of them here. Then this is a dialog box for record. So record into same variable dialog box would look like this. You have on the left side list of variables. This right box is for processing, and then you find the instructions as to what to be done. So here I'll try my old value is 0, my new value should be 1. So click it here. So this is another sub dialog box. So the value is 0. Now my new value should be 1, and then add it for processing. So continue. That's it. So for all these list of variables, 0 is replaced with 1. So I'm closing it. I assume that my problem is solved. I'm saving my data. Okay. Yeah, I can still cross check once again because we are still in the data cleaning stage. So go to frequencies, open it up, and then click OK to see your output. So my output would look like this. Let me check through my any errors are still pending, or whether all the corrections have taken place or not. So we had noticed those errors were in scale items, particularly conflict and satisfaction. So I'm checking through. So I don't find any problem here that 0 is disappeared. So slowly I'm moving. Yeah, I don't find any zeros. Yeah, I'm not finding any zeros as of now. So hopefully all my errors are taken care of. I think it's done. Errors are all gone away. So I can move it forward little faster. I'll scroll down. So that's it. I don't have any problem. So that means my data is ready for next level analysis. So I'll close it. That's it. I'm saving my output data. That's it. I have done with it. So I'll take a pause here. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate calculations, particularly how to calculate crosstabs. That's going to be an important, very interesting, because 95% of project reports would contain crosstabs. So therefore, if you are learning it here now, you would never regret subsequently in your life, particularly in your workplace. So we will start with crosstabs, then compare means. These are the two things that I'm going to show you in the next video. So until then, have a nice time, enjoy learning, practice them, because I would say that this lockdown is a wonderful opportunity, God's gift for all of you. So rigorously practice and get ready for data analytics career, and the foundations are laid today. So all the best again.